Hi, this is Carl with another SOP video for managed service providers. Today I want to talk about 3 killer tips for passwords. Now, we all know the fight's been going on forever. Clients hate passwords. I don't particularly know why that is. Somehow it's just gotten into their heads that passwords are a pain, that they slow us down, that they make life difficult, and so forth. We know that's not true. So here are 3 killer tips. First tip is make passwords basically non-negotiable. Just declare a day and say, beginning here, you absolutely have to do this. There's no questions. We're going to implement a policy. Sit them down with a handy little form that says, what's the minimum length of passwords? And have the lower end be 15 characters. And then have the higher end be whatever the limits are of the system you're working with. And let them choose. That way they decide. And then do the whole thing of, oh, we need uppercase and lowercase and all that. Basically, you're going to take the screen from your Windows server or your Active Directory interface and you're going to put in the requirements there. But the client needs to be engaged in it. And this is literally like dealing with a child. The question is not, are you going to do this? But I will give you a choice of would you want red or blue, right? I'll give you some choice. You feel like you kind of own the process. But basically, don't let it be an option to have good passwords. Now notice, I didn't say secure passwords. I'm not a big fan of telling clients that passwords are going to keep them secure. Most of them, whether you like it or not, are going to store their passwords in their browser. They're going to open up something. They're going to click on the bank or the credit card or whatever. Their stored username and password is going to be there, and they're going to click through. And anybody who gets a hold of that machine has the ability to do the same thing. So there is a limit to how much we can push the fact that this is secure. But you need to first engage them and not make it be an option. Nobody can have cat and dog as their passwords. And clients should not try to remember them. We don't want passwords that are short and sweet and easy to remember. You know all of this. The good news is it is no longer a best practice to change your password every 20 minutes or have one-time use passwords or to change them every 3 months or 6 months. If your password is big enough and long enough, then as long as it's complicated, the latest advice is you don't really have to change that. I like to change passwords once a year just for fun, but even that you really don't absolutely have to do if it's complicated enough. And you follow tip number 3. Tip number 2, use passwords in your marketing. Here's what I mean. You should do a lot of marketing around password tips. Here's 10 things you need to know about passwords. Here's a little flyer that you can put in your newsletter. People can print it out and stick it on their bulletin board. Here's news stories about people who had bad passwords and bad things happened to them, right? All that kind of stuff. Use that in your promotions, in your marketing, in your newsletter and your emails. Always be talking about it, making it top of mind. Many times we think that we have told somebody something and they heard it and now we're done. We checked the box. But even when you look at the phishing training programs that have been developed, people can hear something 1 time, 10 times, 100 times. They can go to a sit-down training, watch a video every week, have micro trainings, and just inundate them with the message. And then something pops up that says, oh, there's a package from UPS, you should click here. And they click, right? So you have to keep pushing this message literally nonstop. And so talking about passwords in your marketing is good for your marketing because it's an interesting thing. It kind of touches a little bit on the scary, and it's good for your clients. It gives them a non-flow messaging about security and raises their awareness a little bit anyway. Okay, here's tip number 3 that I promised you. This is the killer tip of all time. You can make clients happy about passwords if you sit down, literally put together a 15-minute training and talk to them about two-factor authentication and how you're going to implement it absolutely everywhere. You will help them, of course you'll charge for it, you will help them set it up at their bank, with their credit cards, with every service that they log into. It's really straightforward, and what happens is they start to log in, they go to their phone, they put their finger on the touchpad, or they do the authenticator thing and enter a code. Remember, the way to push this is to say you don't have to remember a password. You, I hope, are like me. For $1 million, you couldn't tell me your password. Probably couldn't tell me the first letter or character. All of my passwords are as long as the systems will let them be, and they are completely randomly generated. I make no effort whatsoever to try to remember any passwords for anything. That's a beautiful thing for your clients. You finally get to say, this is the day of freedom from passwords. And so introduce them to two-factor authentication. Let them understand you still have to avoid phishing. You still have to avoid doing stupid things. But in terms of passwords, the days of passwords are over. They do exist. You randomly generate them. You store them in a vault. You push them when you need to, and then you two-factor authenticate with your phone, and life gets really, really easy. Push the positive side of this, and you will get higher compliance and higher security with your clients. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Polachek, wishing you the best of luck in everything you do. Here's your SOP for this video. Like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, and share it on social media. And if you haven't visited SOPforsMB.com, now's a great time to do that as well.